I think it's better you call me TA because people always miss my name. And right now, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, you will remember my name. But I'm sure after this, people are going to tell me, thank you very much, Mr. Tope, Mr. Tunde, Mr. Tayo. But most people will call me other names than Tola. It has happened for years now. So if you want to remember me as TA. That's my name. And it's a great thing to be here. I want to thank Wilson for inviting me. My family has come to know Abakaliki now. Everybody knows Abakaliki, at least in my home now, because people are surprised that I'm here. Those who know me very well would know me as I'm like a monk. I don't go out a lot, much less travel. So when I told people I was traveling to Abakaliki, they were like, Abakaliki, Tola, it doesn't add up. And so we've come to know Abakaliki so well. And everybody in my house now is saying, how's Abakaliki, and stuff like that. So we know it very well. So it's a good thing to travel. And I think the first tip I want to give you is if you want to be happy in life, there are 3 things you need to learn to do or learn to have, and then you'll be happy. You need to have audacity. You need to have a sense of adventure, and you need to have a sense of awe. Audacity, adventure, and awe. Awe is A-W-E, a sense of wonder. You see, what gives you audacity is your ability to say no. A lot of us don't know how to say no because we are very insecure. No was a very hard thing for me to say. No was very hard because I felt I didn't want to let people down. But every time you say no, do you know what happens? You claim a little bit of your life. No allows you to be in control of your life. You need to say it more. Some people need to learn to say no more. Only an audacious person can tell someone no. So no gives you a sense of audacity. Learn to say yes. Yes gives you a sense of adventure. A lot of us, we are too fearful of things we've never done, things we've never tried. So we don't say yes enough. And you see, when Wilson sent me that invite, on a good day, I wouldn't go. But you see, I've learned to segment my life into no periods, yes periods, and I don't know periods. And he happened to ask me at a point in my life when I said I would say yes to things and just be more adventurous. And I think the next day, he asked me to come to Abakaliki. And I said, man, I don't like to travel. But then I said yes. And he allowed me to come on this adventure. And now I'm here right now. Some of you need to say yes more. You would realize that you would go to places that on a good day, you wouldn't like to go. And you will meet new people that you will never have met. And new experiences and new opportunities will open up. The third thing is a sense of awe. And this is where you need to put yourself in an environment where you do not know things. A lot of us run from places where we do not know because we become vulnerable. You become a learner. And it's very humbling to be a learner. A lot of us don't like to be in that place where we are learning something. But then it's an important part of life to learn and to say, I don't know. To be the person in that room that knows the least. Very important. Have an I don't know part of your life. Just commit a part of it. And this thing I'm saying, you can make it part of your day when you just say, from this time to this time, I'm going to say yes to things that I would normally not say yes to. And from this time to this time, I'm going to say no to some things that I'm normally scared to say no to. And from this time to this time, I'm going to investigate things that I actually do not know. And you realize how full your life would be, how happy you would be at the end of your day and at the end of your life. And so I'm glad I said yes to you, Wilson. And I'm glad to be here. It's a great place to be. It's a great place. My first time in the Southeast. My first time here. So thank you. And Wilson, you have a spirit and you need to investigate it more. Um, you said the same thing, that on a good day you don't come out and talk, but he asked you and you came. You see, you have that thing. It's a gift. A lot of times we don't observe the covert gifts that we have. Those things that will make a way for us. We ignore those things the most, then we go to the highfalutin things. Like, I know how to draw. I know how to sing. I'm good at math. Those things are highfalutin. But we haven't seen the fact that, I was telling her that she's a charming person. Said nobody has ever told her that before. Because people just, charm, what does it mean? But not everybody has charm. There are some people that they will smile and you open the door for them. No matter how hard or how terrible your day has been. That's what's called charm. Some of you have charm. Nobody has ever told you before because it seems insignificant. We miss out on the small things, but the small things are probably the most important things. Some of you have patience. Some of you have drive. But then we are looking for high skills. But those high skills are over-celebrated. It's those small things. That's singing, that you know how to sing. Other people can sing. But the thing about you is the fact that when you sing, you smile. It's your complexion. Everything about you is important. You see, I do something called life branding. I used to do corporate branding for a long time. I did it for about 20 years. Corporate branding. But then I stopped doing it and I started doing life branding because corporate branding became a little bit manipulative. I know how to get companies to manipulate people to do things that they don't want to do, to buy products that they never thought they would buy. But I realized it was manipulative to a large extent. It helped companies that didn't care about people to sell products that they didn't care about. And so I started doing something called life branding. How many minutes do I have, please? 40 minutes. Okay. All right. I started doing life branding. And what life branding was about is allowing you to understand who you are and to realize that every single thing about you is intentional. Every single thing. Every single thing. You see, when I was growing up, I had this cousin who was very muscular, and he stayed with us for a while. He was muscular and he was tall. And I wanted to be like him. I wanted to be tall and muscular, so he used to carry weights and do push-ups. And I would do push-ups, my body would not develop. He would do few and he would just start having biceps. And I realized my body shape was different. Someone would do push-ups for 2 days and their body would begin to form. I would do it for 2 years and you won't see any difference. And I was so frustrated with my body. I wanted to start growing beard. My wife always mocks me. I didn't start growing beard till I was in my 30s. If you look at my wedding photo, I look like a 15-year-old getting married. I remember when I had my first strand of beard, and I went to barb my hair, and the barber cut it off. I was so mad. I'm like, do you know how long it took me to grow this? And it was like, so I got no vex. I said, and he cut it off. So every time I go there, I say, please, don't touch. And it's just that one strand. But that was me. That was who I was. And then something happened. I started having grays. A lot of grays. I started having grays when I was in my 20s. And I rejected it for a long time. I would dye my hair. I would not be caught going out without dyeing my hair. And then I realized that all these things were for a reason. For a long time, I rejected my height, I rejected my body, I rejected my hair. But I didn't know that it was all given to me so that I can be, number one, not intimidating to people. I'm very approachable. People find it very easy to approach me because you don't have to look up to me. I'm almost at eye level. People find it very intimidating to talk to tall people. It's a position human beings don't like to take when I talk to someone and you're looking up at them like this and they're looking at you. It's very humbling. So God gave me my height because he realized that I would talk to a lot of people. That's why I'm average height. I look to you eyeball to eyeball. And it's okay if you look down at me. because God knew how to talk to people. You see, the graying of my hair, I rejected it for a long time. I used to cover it up. But then I realized that since I had a young face, a lot of people did not listen that much to me. But when they see that I have gray hair, they listen more. They listen more. People just think that gray hair means wisdom. It's not true, not particularly true, but it has helped me. So when I talk, they say, please, let daddy talk, let daddy talk. I'm like, who's your daddy? But they listen to me. They listen. See, everything you have is given to you to make you great. Everything you have is your truth. And you see, there's a thin line between truth and trauma. Truth and trauma, there's a thin line. It's thinner than the line between love and hate. But truth and trauma. And what I mean is, truth is that thing that was given to you. Before you came to this earth, you came to this earth with your truth. Factory fitted. Your truth is factory fitted. It's in you. Everybody came with 100% of their truth. Their affinities, their passion, their taste, their preferences, everything was factory fitted. That was your truth. You see, trauma is that thing that happens on the outside that tries to corrupt your truth. That's what trauma is. Things that happen on the outside when you were born into this world. Trauma started happening. Things that just affected your truth. That are trying to distort or blur out your truth. That's what trauma is. You see, a lot of people live their lives to confront their trauma. Their trauma is their driving force. And this thing that we call business, I see a lot of people do business, but they are doing business out of trauma, not out of truth. And you need to be careful. A lot of times we celebrate traumatized people, not truthful people. And what do I mean by doing business out of trauma? What I mean is some people are doing business and they are doing their work so well and making so much money because their parents were poor. And they told themselves, we couldn't afford this, we couldn't. Look, I will make sure I would afford everything I want in my life. Every single thing. We didn't have a TV. So in my own house, we have a TV in the toilet, in the kitchen, in the bathroom. We have TV everywhere. And we celebrate, wow, see this guy's house. So many TVs everywhere. You don't know it's trauma. It's an expression of trauma. Some people, ladies, are so driven about their work and their business because they've been traumatized by some guys in corporate positions that have given them glass ceilings. They denied them promotions. They spoke to them anyhow. And they said, I will be successful to prove to the male gender that they cannot hold me down. And you see them, you call them Amazons, career women. But they're expressing from trauma, not out of truth. There are some guys, there are a lot of them in the world today, in the tech space especially. They were geeks in their school, their high school, their university. Women will never talk to them. They will never be caught dead with them. And then they decided that when they build their business, they will build the biggest business that they can pick any woman that they want. And you look at them and say, this guy, how is he able to build such a platform? And it seems like if he's living the life. But all he's doing is addressing his trauma. That's not his truth. He's building a business out of trauma. A very thin line between truth and trauma. Because trauma seems like your reality. It seems like what happened to you. But truth is what is happening in you. A lot of you do not know your truth. So you are addressing your trauma. And the world is clapping for you because you are building a business on the foundation of trauma. But you are going to bed every day, sad, empty, crying, relationships broken. Your health is not good. Because you can never cheat nature. Nature only respects truth. Some of you have not started living your truth. You're just living the reality of your trauma. I will say this. And you might not agree with a lot of things I say. So I tell people, I'm here to irritate, validate, and liberate. So some of you, I'll say some things that will irritate you. It's okay. You understand? Sometimes the beginning of liberation. I'll say some things for some of you, and you'll be like, that's what I've always been thinking. And I'll say some things, and some of you will be like, I never thought that was. Wow, thank you for that. So if you feel that way, you will feel one way or the other. But what I'm trying to say, I'll tell you this, it's not enough to build a big business because you were poor. Because your parents were poor. Because you came from a poor background. It is not enough. It is not enough for you as a woman to rise up the ladder to prove a point to men. It is not enough. It is not enough for you as a guy to build a business to prove to women that you are actually attractive. It is not enough. I'll tell you one thing. If you are doing business because you were poor, your family were poor, you will never feel rich no matter how much you have. Never. If you are doing a business as a woman to rise up the ladder to prove a point to men, you would always feel like if men have the upper or the longer part of the stick. And if you are doing a business to attract women, you will never have enough women. You must do what you do out of the truth within you. This is what life branding is about. Finding out your truth. What is your truth? Because you were sent to this earth by someone. You didn't send yourself here, and you had an assignment. That's the assignment you need to find out. You see this thing called business? It's a funny thing because we don't understand what it means. So I'll give you the etymology of the word. Etymology of the word business is an old English word. Can you guess the word this word came from? Business. Anybody want to guess? Quite obvious. What word did this word business come from? Say confidently. Busy. That's what this word came from. Old English. Busy. And then they called it busyness. What occupies you. It has nothing to do with what pays you, how you get your money. It has nothing to do with profit. It's what occupies you. That's your business. What occupies you. What occupies most of your mind and most of your actions. That's what business is. We've turned it to work, but business is actually life. It's not about work, it's about life. So everybody is a business person. Something occupies you. That's where this word business comes from. The issue is a lot of us do business and think we have to be entrepreneurs. That's a big problem the world has today. The entrepreneurial bug. When we talk about Bizcon, the people that come here, a lot of them are aspiring to be entrepreneurs or are entrepreneurial in nature. So we think business is about profit and loss. No, it's about what you commit your time to. So everybody should actually be here. It's not about entrepreneurship. How did we come to this place where we all thought business was about entrepreneurship? I'll tell you how. See, the world has changed. 4 things have happened in the world so far that drastically changed the world, that a lot of us do not take account for or account of. 4 things happened in the history of the world that drastically changed the world. One thing, the first thing that happened in the history of the world that changed the world was the birth of a man called Jesus. Now, this has nothing to do with religion. I'm just telling you the fact. Jesus came, died, and the world was never the same afterwards. Do you know how I know? Because the way we count time is always referencing him. Time was divided to before and after Jesus. Time never was the same. Nothing to do with religion, just fact. We call this year 2025, not because we're counting the day from the day the world was created. The world is about 4 billion years old. We started counting time from when an individual died. And every time before him was called BC, every time after him, AD. So it changed the world. First thing that changed the world. Second thing that changed the world happened in 1940s. 1940s, I think 1939, 1940. It happened because a man called Adolf Hitler was born. A lot of people do not understand the part Adolf Hitler played in the way you are living your life today. Adolf Hitler was a very important person in history. He is a very important person in history because he changed the world. Because of Adolf Hitler dragged the entire world into war. They dragged the entire world into war, one man. And after the war, which he lost, something interesting happened. The world became more concerned about which country was world power. The world did not have that mentality before about world power. And because the United States at that point in time were the one that gave the Germans their defeating blow, they gave them the crown as world power. That's why everything that affects your life today, fashion, work, school, entertainment, everything that you are doing is dictated by that country called the United States. It started after the Second World War. Everything changed. They became world power. They controlled your media, whether what you watch, what you listen to, what you read, what you eat. You adopted their lifestyle by force. The world changed. The world became an American world. The third thing that happened in the 1990s. Do you know what happened in the 1990s? The internet was created. That changed the world forever. Who doesn't have a phone here? If you don't have a phone, put up your hand. You see, the world changed. Everybody has a phone that has access to this thing called the internet. It was created by and large in the 90s. And then we had the technology boom. I'll come back to this. But then in 2020, another thing happened. What was it? COVID. COVID changed the world forever. COVID changed the world forever. It changed our approach to work. It changed how we see distance. It changed a lot of things. COVID. COVID happened and we will never recover from it. Whether that's for good or for bad, I don't know. But you realize that COVID changed a lot. It formed a root for our addiction to social media today. COVID. Let me go back to what happened in the 1990s, the internet. You see, in the 1990s, people started building companies because of this thing called the internet. They started building tech companies, technology companies. And then people started to hear things that they've never heard before in their lives. That someone built a company that was worth the budget of an entire country. That a company was acquired for what was worth the entire budget of another country. People started hearing about figures that they didn't know how to write. 100 billion. You hear it every single, this was acquired for 2 billion. Do you know what $2 billion is? We started hearing, money started to lose its value. You understand? It just became something you can just add to. And then people started to say, who are the people that are working, that are getting this? And we started looking at people called entrepreneurs. It was the tech people that started this thing, that propagated this word called entrepreneurship. When I grew up in the 80s, I didn't know what entrepreneurship, I didn't know how to spell entrepreneurship until I was 20-something years old. Because it didn't exist in a vocabulary. Till 90s. It was the 90s that people started talking about entrepreneurs. It didn't exist. I went through secondary school, nobody said anything about entrepreneurship. It was either you're a civil servant or you're a business person or stuff. Nobody said my dad is an entrepreneur. But when people started building tech companies, that people started saying, who are these people that are making so much money? They were called tech entrepreneurs. And so everybody wanted to be like them. Out of our trauma, we wanted to start making money like them. So when you hear business, whatever business you are thinking, you want it to work like how the tech entrepreneur's business works. Everybody wants to be big like a tech entrepreneur. But I want to tell you that entrepreneurship is just one expression of business. There are 7 expressions of business. 7. So when we talk about business, I'm not just talking about entrepreneurship is one of them. There's what we call humanitarian work. Humanitarian work, and I'll use work likely here. When I say work, just think of it as a way of life. Humanitarian. There's another called advocacy. There's another called labor. There's another called entrepreneurship, as we know. What number am I on right now? What? 4. There's another called charity. There's another called ministry. I'm on 6 right now, right? And then the last one is called philanthropy. Those are the 7 forms of business. If a society is to work, we must have people in these 7 forms of business. But we have a lopsided society because everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. It can never work that way. Everybody, you must have these 7 forms of work and business fully expressed. Some of you will do humanitarian work. Some of you, that's your truth. That's your truth. You know what humanitarian work is? You are always thinking about people that need rescue. Since you were small, you think of people that need rescue. Since you were small, a dog outside in the rain, and you tell your mom, can we go and bring that dog inside? Mom's like, it's not our dog, leave it. You cannot stop thinking about that dog. That's your truth. You don't know where that desire to save things came from. Some of you are like that. That's who you are. You are humanitarian. Your human empathy is high. When you hear there's a disaster somewhere, the first thing you think is, those poor people, how can I help them? That is your business. That is your business. It was factory fitted in you. That is your truth. If you ask your parents should know. But the problem is that a lot of our parents, they are distracted. So I'm sorry to say a lot of our parents failed us. That's why a lot of you are confused right now. Your parents did not observe you. They didn't observe you and say, this is who you are. They didn't validate your truth. Instead, they added to your trauma. I'm sorry. I am. Because it's the greatest failure a parent can do to their kids. So I'm actually sorry. Because I'm a parent now. I know what it means to let down my kids and not validate their truth. It's not an easy thing to be a parent. It's the hardest work in the world. But also one of the most meaningful. I have 3 kids. They're incredible kids. 1 girl and 2 boys. They couldn't be more different. They couldn't be more different. You see, my daughter, highly entrepreneurial. She's the firstborn. Highly entrepreneurial. Everything she does. She said, Daddy, what are you going to pay me to do this thing? I said, I'm not going to pay you anything. She said, if you don't pay me, I'm not going to do it. Everything she does, she wants to get paid for it. Paid in something. She doesn't care. Pay her in a shoe, pay her in sugar, pay her, as long as you pay her. There must be an exchange. We didn't teach her that way. She just saw the world that way. Highly entrepreneurial. I remember one day my wife went for a fair. And my wife has this passion. She likes to make like bows and accessories for little girls. So she went for the fair. But my wife is not the most entrepreneurial person. She's a medical doctor. But then she went for this fair and she put these beautiful bows on the table, just like that black table there. And we were there for hours. And at the end of the day, my daughter, who was very young then, went around to play. I said, Mom, you still have all these things here. Why now? And she took like 2. I went to go and meet somebody. Buy this thing from my money. They are very nice. They'll be good if you go to church, you go to school, you go to, and person, okay, yeah. But, and my wife sold most of them just because of my daughter. My daughter is she can approach anybody for business. She's that kind of person, entrepreneurial, highly entrepreneurial. Then I have a son, my first son. My first son is a very sweet boy, very sensitive, very emotional, very soft-spoken. You see, you have to be careful the story you tell children. Oh, my son, not children, because children like stories. But my son, you have to check that story well. Tell my son a story about Cinderella. What he will fixate on is, why did the wolf swallow them now? Why did they cut out his stomach? Did you have to cut his stomach? And then you tell him about Goldilocks, and she broke their chairs. And why did she break their chairs? How would they fix their chairs now? And he'll be thinking about that. That's not what we are focusing on. So you have to edit the story. Just say anything about blood. He will be up the whole night. Is that person okay? Is he okay? Daddy, are you sure he's okay? Very emotional. You understand? And so I've noticed that about him. Then I have my second son. The only thing that boy needs to have been born with is like with his hand like this, like an activist. He's a ball of energy. Just the day before yesterday, before I came, I was just in the room reading a book and he was playing. And then he stopped playing. And then he just told me, Daddy, if you beat me, I won't cry. I said, where does this come from? He said, Daddy, if you beat me, I won't cry. I said, okay, but I'm not beating you. I just want you to know if you beat me, I won't cry. And it was the day I was talking to his older brother. And I was asking him for something. And the older brother was talking to me. And he was just sitting down listening. And at the point, just said, speak up. To his older brother, said, speak up now. And even I was shocked. Like, I'm not complaining about the tone of about his volume, but that's how he is. You see, I noticed these things about them. So even when we eat on the table, there's a dynamics that goes on. You see, my wife is so intent about, don't eat your meat till you finish your food. And I've seen 3 different approaches in my children. My older daughter, she will finish her food, then she'll eat her meat. But she never gets tired of saying, Mommy, can I have more meat? I don't say, why? She said, because so I can do this thing. If you give me more meat, then I will do this thing. There's always a transaction. And she never gets tired. Even though my wife doesn't give in, she always thinks of a new way the next day. So, what do you want me to do for you if I get more meat? Everything is transactional. So she's still trying to figure out what to do to get that one meat. That's her. She's an entrepreneur. My second son, or my first son, he will even look at it and say, Mom, your meat is too small. Let me give you mine. I will be forcing him, eat your meat. He says, no. Okay, I'll give it to you. You know, that kind of thing. He's always trying to be empathetic. Not trying, he's empathetic. But my third son, number one, he will eat that meat first. No matter what you tell him, he must eat that meat first. He will eat that meat first. And if he's done with his meat, God save your own meat. That's exactly how he is. You see, as a parent, I've realized this. I didn't realize this as humor. It's serious to me, because I should be able to tell them this is who you are. So when my daughter tells me I want to start a business, or I want to be entrepreneurial, I should not tell her, no, you shouldn't. No, I shouldn't kill that in her. You see that my first son, if he does entrepreneurial work, no. The staff will take from him, the customers will take from him, everybody will take from him. But my third son, God help the client if he doesn't slap the client for not speaking up. He's an advocate. He fights for people. That's what he is. Some of you, your parents needed to have noticed things about you. And they needed to have stored it in their heart. Some of you will not have this confusion you have today if your parents said, do you know when you were 3 years old you did this? Then you realize you are not weird. You are not weird. You are just special. A lot of you are covering up yourself because you think you are weird. None of us is weird. We are just wired. We are wired to be who we are, to do what we should do. That's why when I meet people, I tell them immediately what I think about them. You know, I told you immediately. And I'm telling you now, use that thing you have. You have to have a way of telling people to do stuff that they will say they don't want to do. It's a gift. It's a gift. You understand? Some of you need to realize the gift you have. You need to realize it. But we've accumulated a lot of voices on our true voice. On our true voice. Some of you are advocates. Advocacy is your thing. You're always thinking about how the government is getting it wrong, how they're ignoring some particular things. When you watch the news, you leave angry. And people just say, what's your own now? Can't just ignore them. What's your business? They don't understand that you're wired differently. You're an advocate. And once you start leaning into your advocacy, you would realize how people will gather around you. There's a popular guy, VDM. VDM is an advocate. That's what he is. He's an advocate. And he has leaned into it. Started out, what was he doing? Hair locking. That's what VDM was doing. Who knew him when he was hair locking? Nobody. But immediately he got that his ring light and started talking about, it seemed like if nobody had challenged anything before. Look, I'll tell you one thing. Our society, if we do not sort out the small issues, those little issues, those simple issues in society, the complexities of business will never be resolved. They will never be resolved. Some of you are doing entrepreneurial work, you are running a restaurant, running a this, running a that, but then your staff, they're giving you headache. It's not their fault. I'm telling you, it's not their fault. You know, sometimes they're not empathetic. We will talk about what McDonald's is doing, what Apple is doing. I stopped telling people about all those US companies because our societies are different. Those people have solved the basic problems. That's why they have solved the complex issues in business. Look, the other day I went out with my family and we went to a restaurant and we got there pretty late. And the lady that was taking our orders and serving it, she said, please, sir, can you please hurry up? On a good day, that should offend me because I'm paying money to be here and you've not closed. But then I thought about it. She said something. I said, please, can you please hurry up? Where I stay is far. Some people will get offended, but those people are not empathetic. To be honest with you, what she was trying to say is that if I stay one more hour, I could get robbed. I could get robbed. I could be standing at a bus stop and I will get robbed. When she says it's far, I understand what she means. It means that it could affect my coming to work early tomorrow. It means that my sleep is counted. You are going to deny me of the 4-hour sleep that is not even enough. Because we not sorted out things in Nigeria. Because the roads are still bad. Security is a problem. She's going to a place whereby shouldn't be far. She should just use a train that will take her there in 10 minutes. She has to use 5 buses. Then you come and start motivating that person about what Apple employees are doing. Apple in the US? Are you kidding me? If you understand what people are having to scale to show up at your work, you would applaud them instead of saying, check out what I saw in the US. When I went to the US, see how they are doing things. No. We've not sorted out the small things, the basic things of society. So the complexities of business will always be there. They would always be there. And you know what it is to sort out the basic of society? Is each of you occupying the right place in business. Somebody has to jack government and say, look, go and fix that road. That's what VDM is doing in Abuja. I stay in Abuja, VDM stays in Abuja. The guy calls out the, what's his name, Wike, calls him out, said, you take his camera and say, Wike, see this place. Come and fix it tomorrow. By tomorrow, I give you tomorrow to fix it. And they will come and fix it. One individual, not in office, using his voice. If I should do it, they'll come and carry me because I don't have that truth in me. But he does it. He's not scared to go to jail. And he's getting bigger because he's using his truth, not his trauma. His truth. That's why if they say VDM called you out, you go and arrange yourself. What is special about him? It is truth. Once you start walking in your truth, you realize that things will begin to look up in society. Some of you need to start doing that humanitarian work. You are thinking about those people that are going to Libya, going through Libya to Europe, and you just can't stop thinking about them. How do they get back? You are thinking about people in Nigeria. There's trouble everywhere. People are being attacked in their homes and their farms. They need things. But you can't stop thinking about them. You cannot stop thinking about them. The truth is, someone say, but I don't have the money. No, it doesn't start with the money. It starts with leaning into it first. And you'll be surprised how the money will find you. Once you lean into your truth, your audience will become attracted to you immediately. A lot of you are doing entrepreneurial work. You have no business with business card, letterhead, proposal. No, that's not your thing. Some of you are charitable. You know what charity is? You always think of less privilege and how to give to them. Some of you are charitable. Look, my first son, highly charitable. That boy tells me in future, I would encourage him. I wouldn't tell you what would that make you in future. Can you build a house from that? If he does it, it will take him far because it is his truth. Some of you are charitable. The interesting one is labor. Labor has been abused. Do you know what labor is? Labor is having a skill that you might have gone to school to learn or something you can do. But then somebody else wants you to use that skill on their time and they are willing to pay you for it. It's what they call being an employee. That thing has been, since the 90s, since when these tech guys came and disrupted the whole world, we begin to look down at employee work. A salary is something that steals your dream. A salary is something they use to buy you away from your destiny. A salary is this. Those things are lies. Some people would have to work salary jobs. Some people, their truth is to work under other people. Some people are so good at it. They know how to keep to time. They know not how to extend breaks. They know how to be model employees. It is not a belittling thing. It's an incredible thing. We've abused this so much. You know yourself. My wife is one such person. My wife is a model employee. Model. If you tell her, we resume at 9 o'clock, she will be there at 9:50. If you tell her we close at 6 o'clock, she will not go at 5:59. She will stay at that 6. She looks at what are the rules, and it doesn't stress her to do it. It doesn't stress her. She's a model employee. If my wife should work for you, your company would improve. But if you give her her own business to do, no. Making decisions. She say, should I do this? Should I not do this? Oh, I don't want to make a mistake. But she needs somebody else to make that decision and give her an order. But you see, the world has ridiculed people like my wife. So she feels insecure about being an employee. But that's her superpower. Even if she gets to watch this, she say, no, that's not my superpower. But I'm telling you, that's a superpower. It's a superpower. I'm telling you. Model. Nothing bad about it. Some of us will go into ministry. Ministry is a very important thing. Because God is important. The subject matter of God is important. That's what holds everything together. See, ministry can be complex because ministry requires the most courage. Do you know what ministry means? Ministry means you do it and accept that God will take care of you. Everybody ministers through their work, but not everybody is in ministry. Ministry is hard, though. I won't lie to you. Because that's where I find myself right now. I find myself in ministry. So when people call me to do stuff, I don't say how much are you going to pay me. I don't do that. You see, ministry is important. And that's why I see the dynamics in Nigeria. You see some people in ministry, but they complicate things by acting like they're entrepreneurs. Especially if you are like an artist, a singer. We have this thing where there's some debacle about some artist somewhere, and they are like, but Davido gets paid this, Wizkid gets paid, so you must pay me this. But Davido is an entrepreneur. He's not into ministry. If you are doing ministry, God is the one that takes care of you. And it doesn't fail. It doesn't fail. When you ask me to come here, did I say how much I'm going to do? Never. Because by my mind, I've accepted I'm doing. It took me a long time to accept it, because people would mock you. You're just giving your knowledge out for free. Because it's a ministry to me. I have a podcast, and I want to say this here, because everything I will say, you might find it exciting right now, but I can guarantee you by the end of next week, you will forget a lot of what I will say. You say, that guy made some sense. No. So I want you to listen to my podcast. It's called TA Podcast. If there's anything you are going to remember that. It's on Spotify, it's on other podcast platforms. Listen to it, and then you'll remember a lot of, because I repeat a lot of things I say in events like this on my podcast. But see, I come to realize that I'm in ministry. I'm in ministry. Not everybody is made for that, but I'm made for that. You understand? I'm made for that. And so sometimes I need to deny myself so that God can take care of me. And He has. Once you lean into it, you will lean into the benefits also. But once you are unstable, you understand, you don't know what you are doing, you struggle for things. So you have artists, gospel artists, or men of God that are like entrepreneurs. They are charging before they do anything. They say it's debatable. It's not that debatable. To be honest with you, it's not. It's just that we are still looking at this American entrepreneur that guy has private jets now, I should have my own too and stuff like that. But then you should realize that if you're into ministry, you should call it what it is. If you don't know what something is, you abuse it. You see, 7 years ago, I went to my hometown and in Oyo State, and we have this very big tortoise. We have tortoises there. And I love animals. And we got there at a very important time, because at that time, the tortoise had laid eggs. And that's a very rare thing. You don't get to see it every time. And the eggs started to hatch. And they can lay like a clutch of 20 here, 20 there. So you just see those small tortoises coming out of the ground. And they're so cute. So I took 2, and I said, I'm taking 2 back to Abuja with me. And the driver that drove us there, he also took 1. And I looked at him. I didn't want him to take it, because I knew what would happen. But he took it. And some months later, I saw him, and I asked him, how is your tortoise doing? I said, that tortoise has died now. I said, how? He said, I don't know. That thing was just behaving somehow. I went home, I put it inside water, I gave it fish, it didn't eat the fish, and then it was just behaving, it was just sick, it just died. Immediately I said, number 1, water. Number 2, fish. Tortoise. Then I realized that people do not know the difference between tortoise and turtle. That's why I tell my dad, don't give this person this tortoise. Because I said, don't give it to, because some people just, they like it, but they don't understand it. They just think it has shell, it retracts into its shell, it is a turtle. So they just go and put what, they are so different. What he had was a desert tortoise. You don't put them in water. When you put them in water, they will have hypothermia or whatever it is, and they will die. And number 2, they don't eat fish. They are herbivores. You see, this guy took something, but he abused it because he didn't understand it. He called it something else because it looked like something. Some of you are doing this your business, and like this business is not working. It's not working because you're not doing. It's not entrepreneurial work you're doing. It's not entrepreneurial work you're doing. Some of you are meant to be into philanthropy. Now, this is the most frustrating one. Because Nigeria, we are forgiving a lot of people that we shouldn't forgive, and we are celebrating them. Philanthropy is very important. And we don't have enough philanthropists in Nigeria. Nigeria has a lot of wealthy people. Nigerians, a lot of wealthy people. Wilson, was it easy to organize this thing? Cost a lot of money, right? Yeah, headaches, sleepless nights that he didn't need to have. All he just needed to do was to dream it. But because he didn't have a philanthropist, say, every single year in every single state, I'm going to give this amount of millions to any event that helps young people learn about business. There are people in Nigeria that can do it. And they wouldn't shake. I'm telling you, in this Nigeria, there are people that can give every single state 50 million naira, and that's me even being, not being demanding. 50, every single state dedicated to events like this. But they are not doing it. Instead, they are investing. So they are investors, angel investors. Some people are not meant to be angel investors. They are meant to be philanthropists. They are meant to give. They are meant to give without asking for anything back. Because they can. I'm telling you, there are people who can. But we're still celebrating them. Look, I like the fact that Femi Otedola wrote a book. It's great that he wrote a book. I don't like the fact that he's selling that book. I don't like the fact that he's selling that book. That guy is a multi-billionaire. In any country, he's a billionaire. The reality of the matter, I see people snapping that book. They snap it and they look at it. I just bought my copy. You are paying tax to someone. You are another means of making money. Look, he has the wealth. That book is called Making It Big, or what do you call it? Making It Big. I don't know what the content is. It might be good. I'm not saying the book is not good, but the approach is questionable. Look, he has the means to make sure that every person coming out of secondary school gets to read that book. Coming out of university, even if he just chooses 2 secondary schools in each state, they all get a copy. You want them to make it big, right? You care so much about this country. Give it to them. Start changing their mind from when they are writing their WAEC or when they graduate. Let them all have it. They have the means, but we celebrate our exploitation. Philanthropists, we need them. We need them if we are to solve the problems in this country. Or else we are still packing things that we cannot use. We are still packing things we cannot use. My wife bought an air fryer some years ago. And she was so excited. Oh, this thing will make my cooking faster and stuff like that. And she was like, okay, the first night, let's use air fryer, no light. So we waited. Okay, we'll wait to use it with this light. Then we tried it with Jen. The thing spoiled the coil of our Jen. So we waited to use this very amazing thing that will make cooking faster. We couldn't make cooking faster for about 2 or 3 days. You see, we are buying things we are not ready for. We are buying cars that our roads cannot allow us drive on. I can guarantee you, if Toyota should see where we are driving our car, they'll say, no. We didn't design this car for this kind of thing. This is not an off-road car that they are using as an off-road. They'll be telling themselves, can you imagine where they are driving this, our Camry, on off-road conditions? They will never think for the life of them that you will drive through the kind of pothole you are driving through. So those things that they are doing, as you see, mechanics, the most common problem mechanics fix in cars are always tire problems. They will tell you, lower arm has broken, upper arm has torn. There's always something. It's always something arm. Because Toyota did not think those things will break if you are driving on good roads. We bring those things here, but we are not ready for them. Because somebody needs to go to government and say, fix this road. So, I hope that makes sense to you. To tie this all up, think of it like a hospital. Think of it like a hospital. What I'm saying, the ecosystem like a hospital. When you are sick, where do you go? You go to the hospital. The hospital is an interesting place. There's nowhere like the hospital. When my wife was doing a house job, I would go and I would drop her off, and I would stay there for about 2 to 3 hours. Some of you should go to the hospital when you are not sick. Because when you go when you are sick, your vision is compromised. When you go when you are not sick, number one, you'll be grateful for life. You'll be grateful for your life. You'll be more grateful. And number two, you will see things in a different way. The hospital is a unique place. It's a place where you see somebody who is incredibly happy about something that the doctor has told them, sitting right beside someone that is terribly sad. Sadness and happiness sit together in the hospital. Someone just gave birth. Someone just brought their dead. So when I used to go to the hospital with my wife then, I realized how the hospital works. And sometimes I go to the emergency unit, and I'll see some people just dragging somebody, accident victim. And I just think, what was this person doing before they saw this person get hit by a car? And they had to stop what they were doing, where they were going, to carry this person to this ER of the hospital. And people would just do it, and they do it for nothing. Just like, I couldn't leave him there. I couldn't leave him there, and they carry him. Those people are humanitarians. Every hospital needs them. They get the patients there that can't come there themselves. They cannot leave somebody who has fallen. Then when you walk around the hospital, what you also see are doctors, nurses, pharmacists, people like that. Those people are laborers. They labor. The hospital cannot function without them. They are there with a skill. Somebody is paying for their time. Imagine if you get to the hospital and the doctor says, I'm closing at 6, Jerry, let me leave at 5:45. That 5:45 can be the difference between somebody dying and somebody being alive. Those people are laborers. They are very important. They are the people that labor for you to have good health. And then you see some people that go to hospitals, and what they do is just look at, there's no toilet roll in this. Let's just go and give toilet roll to some pregnant women that can't afford it. See some people, their life is subpar. I say, what can we help you with? You want to buy this, they give them. Those people are charitable. You see them in hospitals. Every good hospital has people that are charitable. They come there and just say, we're going to give people in the children's unit something, just to help them with that tough period. Every good hospital should also have a place where people sell things. Because sometimes you are not sick, but you are there with someone that is ill, and then you are hungry. You shouldn't have to leave the hospital to buy food. There are people selling food in the hospital. Sometimes they ask you to go and get some things. There are people selling it. They are doing entrepreneurial work in that hospital. Then you have some people, their job is to bring posters, and they put it all around the hospital. How to avoid female genital, mutilation, stuff like that. They sensitize you, advocacy about things like that, about teenage pregnancies and stuff like that. Every good hospital will tell you should have posters of things like that. How to be safe from tuberculosis. Those people are advocates. Every good hospital should have people that can come and pray with you. Whether you are sick, you are pregnant, you just lost somebody, you need spiritual guidance. You need spiritual encouragement. And every good hospital should have people that just come and clear the bill. The bill that they know some people can never pay. I remember my dad traveled abroad, I think to the US, and he had a medical emergency. That would have cost him a lot of money. But at the end of the day, when he was about to pay, they said, somebody just paid for you. Who is the person? Till today, we don't know who the person is. In the US, philanthropy. He just come and just say, I want to pay for 10 people. What are the worst cases you have here? I'm paying for everything. That is how a society works. It works when you begin to obey your truth. Not your trauma, but your truth. And I hope someone listens to this today and is encouraged today. It takes a lot of courage. But when you are courageous to follow your truth, then in the end, you would find true fulfillment. Thank you very much for your time.